We can go online in the space of 10 seconds. We have 20 tabs with amazing initiatives and amazing people all around the world. It naturally raises my standards and raises my expectations in terms of what I can achieve. When I see all this stuff, it's sort of this feeling of overwhelming, what the hell would I do with it? On the other hand, when I'm clear, it's just this complete bliss and ecstasy that there's just so much richness. And to talk about wealth, I feel like I have the world's collective consciousness at my fingertips, and I just feel so rich.
A lot of us had parents that were baby boomers and potentially disillusioned hippies. They supported our creative side, and somehow we caught their idealism, and now we're interested in the structure of money.
I think it's going to be really incumbent upon those of us for whom digital technology is more natural to invent the systems of the future.
I can't imagine how many great ideas out there are buried in the backs of the minds of people, of young students with a lot of debt who just don't have the ability to pursue them. It's like shackling our innovators.
When you base lending and credit on things like financial history or cosigners, those things exclude millions of people around the world who don't have them. However, everyone has potential, and if you can base credit on future potential, that brings a lot more people into financial inclusion.
It's actually not a question that you pay for what you already got. You actually pay for what you will get, the things that can be made because you paid.
I think one of the things that's going on right now is a re-examination of value and of wealth and of assets and of a lot of words that have a lot to do with money but really aren't about money.
Money itself seems to be a mystery for most people. It is just so shockingly alien to you if you compare it for how many decades you are using it until you are questioning yourself for the first time what it really is.
We've given money the properties of the divine. Money is not wealth. Money is potential wealth. But we give it such power that it influences the way we feel about ourselves.
By experiencing a complementary system, I changed my notion of wealth.
People need to see themselves more as producers. And if they see themselves as producers, they can also see that they create a value, and that's probably someone out there who can benefit from that value.
There is actually a direct link between the kind of new social habits we are learning online and the social movement which is created.
We're more willing to connect with someone who we've only seen a profile of online and to trust them in real space or with our time. I would share almost all of my information with complete strangers because I feel there's an integrity to the way I live, and it's fine for other people to know about that.
As we work together creating these collective projects, then trust naturally comes from that. And out of that trust, we then seek to organize new forms of social life. So trust is at the basis of the recreation of real communities which are no longer bounded by place, but are bounded by shared values.
You put yourself in a more vulnerable state when you express what you need. We go out and we buy it from people we don't know, but we don't turn to our community. Putting all of that information into one database creates an enormous amount of potential energy. When you know what a community needs, you know what the market demand is.
So if there was a kind of bank that allowed me to convert my money to a local currency right now, I would do that.
Successful businesses and other non-business organizations of the future will have to be more transparent and more human. And the ones that succeed in the long run, I think, are going to come back more as peers in our society so that they can behave in trustworthy ways rather than trying to tell us over and over again to trust them.
Banks are going to have to evolve to meet the new business models around mediating trust in communities. And the ones that do are going to survive and take on a very different role. And the ones that don't, I think, are just going to go out of business.
Try to start and think in new ways. Join the discussion, like this discussion on what's to come and what is value and what could replace money.
It's more about creating an atmosphere within a company or organization that allows the people who work there to speak out crazy ideas without being fired right away.
Think about the first days of aviation. The Wright brothers would say, okay, let's make this thing fly. But they wouldn't think about the huge infrastructure that is needed. Airports and embassies and people and security. And, all these are huge opportunities.
The bank, again, is not an external entity to the community, but is an expression of the community itself.
What are the kinds of flows that we want to see? What is that we want to shape? What is that we want to measure? And then try to design currencies for that.
Think about currency as open to the principles of the free market. Just as corporations are free to compete for various value-creating opportunities, currencies should be free to compete. Different currency models competing against one another for their ability to serve different purposes.
We're starting to reconsider how the commercial economy intersects with gift exchange and the commons. And no business likes to hear that something of what they're doing might fall into the commons or might be a gift, might be very cheap to do or easy to do. But they are. It is. And if you actually have your eyes open and look at those forces and understand them deeply, you will see new business opportunities around the commons, contributing to the commons, being in a symbiotic relationship with the commons that are different from the way we used to do business.
And I do think that there's a great money-making opportunity in currency innovation, so that rather than simply innovating in terms of the financial instruments built on top of the current currency system, you go underneath and actually develop new operating systems.